Welcome back to another episode of Front Row Cinema, a movie podcast for movie lovers by movie lovers. I am your host, TJ Trimboli, and with me, as always, my co-host. We got underground street racing extraordinaire in the house tonight. We got Mr. James O'Reilly.
How's it going, buddy?
It's going. And each week we take a look at my 1,000 movies I've seen in theaters and we see how well it's aged, along with the hype surrounding the film, its box office analysis, and legacy in the film industry. But we got a little bit of a caveat as always. If you've been around here on the channel, then you know that our 10, our 20, our 30, our 40, today is our 50th episode. And every 10, Jim gets to pick a flick that I missed in theaters that he caught. So today we are rounding up another classic of Jim's picks. Jim, what are we watching?
We're watching, as the guy with the stellar movie voice told us, we're watching Too Fast, Too Furious.
That's right, 2003 action extraordinaire, Too Fast, Too Furious, better known in Japan as Wild Speed X2.
Wait, is that really what they called it?
Yep, so funny. Like
Wow.
that's great. That's great. Love it. Directed by John Singleton, written by Michael Brandt and Derek Haas, and
So wait,
starring.
hold
Oh,
on though.
all right, all
Does
right,
that
all right.
mean that the original Fast and the Furious was called Wild Speed? Because this is like Wild Speed times two. That's what the X2 means.
It's quite possible, Jim. I didn't do too deep into my dive on the Japanese names for the other Fast and Furious movies, only this one. But I would assume that the first one had to have been called Wild Speed.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's like the X2 is like this is the sequel.
It's gotta be. And I gotta
That's so
say,
funny.
if they're like, I can't usually when you see like I see the Fast and the Furious, you see Too Fast, Too Furious. It's like these titles can't get any more ridiculous. And then Japan throws Wild Speed X2 at me, and I'm like, you know what? I take it back. It got crazier.
Yeah, today I learned the Fast and the Furious movie series is called Wild Speed in Japan. Some of the titles also include spoilers for major plot points as well.
Amazing.
Whoa, one of them is called Wild Speed Super Combo.
Love it. Love it. Do you
What
have
one is that?
that's the better? Yeah. All right. So which one, before you actually say which one, if you had to guess, which one would you assume is Wild Speed Super Combo?
What's that spin-off movie where they're like it's like the I think The Rock is in it and the one with Idris Elba is the bad guy?
Oh, Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, that's what I think would be super combo because it's like they're the super combos, Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, it's entirely possible.
I don't know. Let's Google it.
Let's see. Yeah, I need to know. I need we need the answer. I honestly need the titles for all the Wild Speed franchise at this point.
Yeah, I think I got it. The I just learned that the Japanese title of Hobbs and Shaw is Wild Speed Super Combo.
Beautiful.
So amazing.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Why like aren't these just better titles for the movie? Like why aren't we just naming them this in America?
I don't know. I mean, there's definitely an argument for it. I mean, to be fair, I don't know if you can beat Too Fast, Too
I
Furious.
mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
It's
That
an
is also
excellent
super
combo
good.
to The Fast and the Furious. Like, how do you follow that up? I got it. You just put a two in there, and we're off to the races.
Yeah.
And it's something that this they will do multiple times in their franchise. You know, you got your Fast Five, your Furious Seven, the
Well, yeah,
fate
looking
of the.
looking back though, was this movie Too Fast, Too Furious? They get so much faster and so much more furious.
They do, yeah. This is almost like the tame and the tepid compared to like how wild and crazy these movies would eventually go.
Like Cole Hauser was a great villain, but he's no submarine. Like, you know what I mean?
It's very true. I mean, this movie doesn't have anything near the heights of Vin Diesel punching a parking garage in half.
Yeah. Right.
So
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean maybe they just didn't realize how fast and how furious they could get just yet. They thought this was Too Fast, Too Furious, but they just didn't know.
They were like, no one can get faster, no one can get furiouser than this movie. And somebody was like, and I took that personally.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, really?"
They were like, just you wait and see. Vin Diesel was sitting at home like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Also, good call out. This is the only one of these movies that I think Vin Diesel just isn't in, right?
Yeah, because he's got a cameo in the third one, right?
Yeah,
right?
he
He's
shows
the
up at the
final
very end
boss.
of Tokyo Drift. But we'll probably are we did you see Tokyo Drift in theaters?
I did not.
Okay. So
I did
yeah,
not.
I might have I should have probably saved my pick for Tokyo Drift because as everyone knows, that's my favorite Fast and
That is
Furious
your
movie.
favorite of the Fast and Furious, so maybe there's a
But
chance that
yeah, he shows up at the very end of the third of Tokyo Drift and is like he's like, "Hey, want to race? I heard about you, kid."
yeah,
To the new Drift King. Like,
classic final boss right there. Amazing. Yeah,
yeah, and
this is
also
the
that
one.
kid never is in him again. I don't think,
No,
right?
he
I've
he
never
comes
seen any of them after Tokyo
he
Drift, so I don't know.
he comes back, I believe, in Fast Nine.
Oh,
Yeah, they bring everybody back sooner or later. He came back. I don't
dang!
remember which one he comes back in, but I know he's been in another one like way down the line.
Does he
Uh,
drift in it? I gotta watch it now.
uh, Jim, I did as these movies have gone on, I've tried to forget more and more of them.
If they don't have a scene in the movie he comes back in where his drifting ability like saves the day, they really dropped the ball, in my opinion.
He's drifting like he's on Rainbow Road in Mario Kart, like he's just
Yeah,
fun. Like
he's
he's
got
the master.
he's
No
the
one,
Drift King, dude. That's like he stole the name from the
no
previous
no
Drift
one,
King.
no one can touch him.
Because
And
you
I
beat him in like a one-on-one drift off.
yes,
You can't just like you gotta earn that title.
gotta earn that. You gotta earn this. I find it hilarious that Vin Diesel isn't in this one because I was reading about it, trying to figure out. You know, they pretty much brought most everybody back. Well, that they didn't bring Michelle Rodriguez or any of them else back, but I was wondering why Vin Diesel specifically chose not to come back since this franchise is
So
pretty much his bread
if
and
you
butter.
if you looked it up, I want to take a guess as to why
Okay.
I think Vin Diesel isn't in this movie.
Okay. All right, Jim. All right. Jim, I think I could give you 1,000 guesses and you would not get his reasoning for not coming back.
Okay, well, I was thinking that by the time Too Fast, Too Furious comes out, he's like kind of a bigger star, and this movie is stupid.
Uh, no.
Okay, so what happened?
So, so he chose not to come back. Basically, long story short, because of the script. But when they talked to him in interviews about why the script wasn't working for him and what he turned away from, it's kind of what you're saying is that this movie is dumb. He didn't think the script lived up to par. He said, and I quote, if you're going to do sequels, you need to shoot for the absolute classics. You know, like this movie needs to be Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather Part 2. And I wasn't getting that. So I didn't do it. It is like,
You
bro,
don't
that is a
say.
high milestone, my friend.
Too Fast, Too Furious wasn't quite up to the Godfather 2 standard. I'm stunned.
Which makes it even funnier that you watch all the later movies where he's now taken the reins of this franchise because you can tell now in his eyes that's what he's trying to achieve.
There's no way, right? I have to go watch these movies now. So you're telling me that Vin Diesel isn't just collecting a paycheck? Like he's playing these totally straight to this day. He thinks he's
I
making like high
this,
cinema.
this man thinks that this is his legacy. He takes this so seriously. And the amount of behind the scenes hoopla that you always hear about whenever one of these comes out in regards to Vin Diesel's like problems behind the scenes is because he tries and treats these movies like he's making Citizen Kane,
Dang. All
and
right. Well,
it's
I mean, props to
so
him for
great.
that. I definitely respect it. I don't know if he's quite achieving the goal, but
Yeah.
it's
I just
in my
want to
opinion anyway.
I just want to once again reiterate that in Furious 7 he says that's what happens when you fight in the street. The street always wins, and then he punches a parking garage in half and kills the bad guy.
It's pretty ridiculous.
And
When you say, you know what? I just got to go watch it. We'll talk about it another time because
Jim,
that sounds absolutely unbelievable at face value.
oh yeah, and Jim
There's
is
got to be like something like weakened the parking garage beforehand, like
yes,
it's
yeah.
the foundation's already cracking. Okay, all
The
right.
parking garage has been weakened, but I do not think it underestimates the fact that he punches the parking garage
Yeah,
to
because
finish it.
that would be up there with like San Andreas. Do you remember that scene in San Andreas when the Rock's daughter like drowns and then she's dead in the boat for like the next like half hour of the movie. And then he like after that 30 minutes he's like, all right, we're gonna bring her back. And it's like, dude, I don't know. Like I think maybe it's been a bit too long.
She might be
uh,
gone.
it would be up there with that for just like absolutely throwing any sense of realism to the wind, you know.
Oh, no, they definitely did that in these movies. They throw any semblance of actual reality in these movies right out the window.
Yeah.
And don't you worry, Jim, we will be watching plenty of these because from Fast and Furious, which is the fourth one on, I've unfortunately watched every single one of these in theaters.
Yeah, because you're a basic bitch. Once they get really,
Oh,
really
I
popular and they're like close to billion-dollar movies, of
I
course you're gonna
was
go to
I
all
was
of them.
back in. And I won't lie, Fast Five, it brought me in.
No, I've heard the fourth and the fifth one are good. I'm too big into Tokyo Drift to go back.
there's definitely some highs within this franchise as it went on. But now it has definitely driven itself right off a cliff.
Yeah.
Pun very much intended.
It's interesting you brought up Vin Diesel too, because I would imagine that in the script, Tyrese's character was just supposed to be Vin Diesel, right? Like it seems like close enough to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
Like
absolutely
they just go get him out of prison instead of
instead.
Tyrese out of that demolition derby.
Yeah. Which is weird that he wouldn't hop on that because, on paper, that seems like a pretty slam dunk for a sequel. Like Brian's got to get Vin out of prison, and they need to team up to do a mission in Miami. It's like, yeah, all right, sure, like
Yeah,
absolutely,
I mean,
take that to
maybe
the
this is
bank.
good to save for later, but I definitely feel like I would care a lot more about the whole like will he run, won't he run thing at the end.
Yeah, if it was Vin Diesel, for sure, for sure. But yeah, we'll get into the weeds in just a moment. We first got to do our due diligence as always. And I actually, we were lucky here, Jim, because I got worried that I wouldn't have a log line for us here because I
Okay.
don't have the DVD for this movie. I have a Fast and Furious box set, which is all of the movies in one collection. And normally in a box set, they don't give you any log lines for any of these movies. But
Yeah, right.
Fast and Furious knew you needed some good stuff. So they threw some log lines for each movie on here.
Nice.
So we got some right here for Too Fast, Too Furious. And it reads ex-LAPD cop Brian O'Connor teams up with his ex-con best friend Roman Pierce and works with undercover U.S. Customs Service agent Monica Fuentes to bring Miami-based drug lord Carter Verone down.
Nice. Short, sweet, to the point. I love it.
Short and sweet and to the point, but I love that they have to give every single, like, first and last name for everybody, and then also the absolute whole title for the customs agent.
Yeah, that's Eva Mendes' character, right?
Yeah. U.S. Customs Service agent. It's like, yep.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
The
it's like
whole,
her. It's like the actual real life job title.
yeah, they got to give her the whole honorific. Love it.
Just call everybody agent. I get it.
Yeah.
It's just
And also, I don't think I ever even knew the bad guy's name until I just read it right there. So kudos to the log line for giving me what that dude was actually called.
I always just call him Cole Hauser. I
Yeah,
don't
me too.
remember his actual name.
I'm always just like, Days of Confused. All right, let's rock.
Because that I saw this movie, maybe I didn't see it with my cousin, but shortly after I saw it, like he was talking to me about it, and he was like, he loved Cole Hauser as the villain. He's honestly the big reason why I was so into this movie and Tokyo Drift is because my cousin used to just hype them up all the time.
He was a big
He's
fan.
to this day he stands by that the Fast and the Furious series has gotten better with each movie that's come out. He's,
Oh boy, even all the way to now.
I think so. The last I spoke to him, I think maybe one or two more have come out since I talked to him about it.
Oof. Yeah, so maybe we have to after Fast 10, if he's still holding firm to that, my God, absolute fanboy for that. He's sticking in through the weeds.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, so I'm guessing you and your cousin went and saw this together in theaters, or did you saw it in
Well,
theaters?
I don't remember if I saw this. I might have saw this with friends. I know I saw it in theaters because I like did like the first one, and I went and saw it. But I don't think I saw it with him because they live in Jersey, and I was just still been in New York at the time.
Gotcha.
But I know we talked about it shortly after, and that was his. He was hyping up Cole Hauser in this movie so hard.
Which is so funny to me that like in 2003 when this came out, like there was a diehard Cole Hauser fan out there.
Yeah.
Not
Absolutely.
no no disrespect to Cole Hauser because I also like Cole Hauser, but he's not like a name actor that you would think. Like he's a that guy.
Yeah, I think we're gonna cover him a bit later. I think he's gonna be our deep dive for the day.
Nice. Love it.
Cause
Love
he
it.
like he is kind of a that guy, like throughout the 90s, for sure. But yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah. So it's funny. The diehard fan there. I'm all for that. Yeah, I don't remember when I saw this because I didn't see this in theaters. I don't even know when I really even got into the Fast and Furious franchise at all. It's never been one that was near and dear to me. Like they were always fun, entertaining, but you know, it always was like fast food to me. Like it was like I forgot about it the second after I watched it. So it was never something that I was like, yeah, gimme, 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 gimme. So
Yeah.
I cannot remember any memory of whenever I watched this. Obviously, we watched it as kids, but I couldn't tell you anything about when I watched it.
Yeah, I mean it's like I could see how it would be a forgettable movie in 2003. Yeah.
Yeah,
That does make sense to me.
amidst a sea of forgettable movies, because
Yeah, right, right.
this summer was chock full of big heavy bangers that I don't know if they lived up to the box office hype. So let's cue it up, Jim. Let's dive into some box office numbers for Too Fast and Too Furious.
Numbers, dates, and numbers, numbers, dates, array, dates, numbers. Show me the money.
All right. So, Too Fast, Too Furious opens. Honestly, I just have to say really quick, I'm so glad it's not like The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that it was just like the subtitle. Oh, did I
I'm
hate?
I'm so glad I don't have to say the full like huge sentence all day. Too Fast, Too Furious, just perfect.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Um, so it opens against a $76 million budget.
That's
So
not
the
bad.
first one I think was pretty successful. That's why they're getting a sequel, right? This movie gets $76 million, which is like pretty sizable for the movies we've been doing, right? Like it's in there for sure. It's gonna have a domestic opening of $50.4 million. It opens in first place.
Wow, 50.4. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not
not
bad.
bad against that budget either.
Yeah, right, dude. And 50.4 is good enough to put us in the 18th spot, beating Lord of the Rings Fellowship, which is now right behind it at 47.2. And then right behind How the Grinch Stole Christmas at 55.1. So that's a pretty big success. You're beating out the opening weekend of the Fellowship.
Yeah. Wait, of the oh the I see what you're saying. Yeah, 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 it beats the opening weekend of the Fellowship.
Just
Yeah,
the
well the
opening weekend.
Fellowship had like was more leggy, right? Like
Yeah, whereas this one is definitely a movie, especially in the summer, where you're going to be more front loaded than you are have legs.
right. And it's interesting because right, so this is the weekend of June 6th to June 8th of 2003.
Hmm.
Everybody kind of like seemingly got out of the way of Too Fast, Too Furious.
Dude, they knew.
There's no other opening weekends here of any note. I mean, like
They knew. They're not coming up
the only
against the
other movie
power.
that opens in the top 20 is all the way down in 15th with $406,000 on 99 screens for Mambo Italiano.
Oh, hey mambo,
I don't know if I've ever
Italiano, hey
seen that
mambo.
movie. And then to get to the third opening weekend movie, you have to go all the way down to 32nd for some movie called
Jesus.
Whale Rider that was on 9 screens.
9 screens.
Yeah. So I mean
Amazing.
like we are in the summer though. You're still like you have the second week of Finding Nemo in second. It's running pretty close with 46.6 million. We've talked about that movie. Bruce Almighty's hanging around. This is the second week of The Italian Job, which I'd imagine lost a lot of business to Too Fast, Too
Yeah.
Furious.
They're like, damn it, man, we just can't compete with our little Mini Coopers.
Yeah, and then like The Matrix and X2 are still around here in the top 10. So like there's still movies out. It's summertime, but there's nobody who's like, we're going up opening weekend
Dude,
against Too Fast, Too Furious. Like everybody's just kind of like, I don't know, let's give it a minute.
nobody wanted the smoke, bro.
Yeah.
And it shows because
It's
that opening weekend too for Too Fast Too Furious was good enough for the at the time the fourth highest June weekend ever behind Batman Forever, Scooby Doo, and The Spy Who Shagged Me.
wow.
Excellent company. Like what a foursome right there.
Yeah. And so then moving on to weekend two, the third week of Finding Nemo is gonna leapfrog it to get back into first place.
Ooh.
Uh, Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm gonna give you a stab here. What do
Okay.
you think the drop for Too Fast, Too Furious is? Give me like a number you want to say it's over.
I would put it in the mid 50s range.
Too low.
Too low?
Too low.
Oh man, dude, that's a big drop. In the 60s?
Yeah, it's in the low 60s. It drops all the way down to it's in second still. Um, but it drops all the way down to 18.7 million. It's a 63% drop.
Oh, dude, that is big. Yeah, dude, that the middling reception to these 2003 summer movies, their second weekends have just been
I think it says
just
a lot about how people
huge
felt
drop.
about Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm interested to when we get to the critic stuff because it just seems like this is like a movie similar to The Joker that just gets absolutely murdered by word of
Yeah.
mouth, like in opening weekend.
Dude, second weekend, Vin Diesel sitting at home smoking a cigar. He's like, I fucking told you.
Yeah, and then just for some context, this is the opening weekend of Rugrats Go Wild, Hollywood
Oh,
Homicide, and Dumb and Dumberer, which is we did recently.
classic movie right there.
So moving into week three, Too Fast, Too Furious stays in third. It drops another 40.6% down to 11.1 million.
This thing is sinking like a ship.
Yeah, and Finding Nemo is still here. I think you told me already this isn't our next movie, so the Hulk opens this weekend to a pretty monster number.
Oh yeah. And then much like Too Fast, Too Furious, Hulk has an absolutely horrible second weekend.
Yeah, Hulk in its second weekend, just because I don't think we're ever going to do it.
Nope.
Hulk, so moving on to weekend four of Too Fast, Too Furious. Charlie's Angels Full Throttle takes first. Hulk drops
Dude,
69.7% down to
dude.
18.8 million.
They saw Too Fast, Too Furious dropping 63 and they were like, hold my beer.
Yeah, and for Too Fast, Too Furious, for the third week in a row, has a drop over 40%.
Oh my God.
It drops 43.9% down to 6.2 million. Still holding fifth place though, which for weekend four isn't so bad for some of the movies we've seen, but it really was like very front loaded, right?
Dude, yeah, dude, summer 2003, man. Just every movie you've named so far is just like, you're in just mediocre dregs
Yeah, and then
outside of Finding Nemo.
yeah, right. Weekend five of Too Fast, Too Furious. This is the weekend for another movie we did. It was the opening weekend of Terminator.
Just rounding
Which
out
we
the
covered under
mediocrity.
number one. It beat out Legally Blonde 2, which just
God,
is. It really is like putting this into a pretty wild perspective for me. Like, all of these movies came out the same summer.
it's so
And,
insane.
like, I mean, like, I would say a lot of them are bad, but, like, honestly, I watched a good amount of these. Like, I watched Legally Blonde 2 a lot. I watched Charlie's Angels Full Throttle a good amount for the McG factor.
McG.
But yeah, so for Fast and the Furious's fifth week, it's gonna drop another 57.6%. It's just like
Jesus.
I didn't even know that this was like I don't think any movie we've done has been close to this, where there's just like an absolute massive cutoff every single
Every
week.
week. Yeah, because usually
Usually
what
when they have like a big drop at some point, it kind of stabilizes
level,
again,
yeah,
you
it
know?
levels out after a while. Like normally once they drop to like sub 10 million, it kind of levels out and they're just like slowly trickling down. Like this is just an absolute collapse.
Yeah, so but its total for that week is 2.6 million. It's all the way down in 10th place.
Oh, and what week are
And
we
then
at?
I'm
Is it
guessing
gonna
that this
hold?
is the weekend we're gonna lose it.
Can it hold one?
Yeah, weekend six, it drops all the way down to 12th with
Oh
1.5 million.
God. All right, so 5 weeks in the top 10, joining a bunch of other movies and a bunch of other average mediocre movies in the 5 weeks, like Scary Movie, Jurassic Park 3, X-Men, and Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I mean, so, but like, this is interesting though, right? Because would you say that that was a success?
For what? For Too Fast, Too Furious?
Yeah, for Too Fast, Too Furious, absolutely.
I mean, probably. I would, because you still, off of that opening weekend alone, mostly almost made your budget back. So even though this thing dropped like a tank, it probably still made enough to justify making it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Yeah, it does. So we'll do some totals here really fast, and then I might want to look at something else that's a little bit interesting. Because maybe we need the totals for this success conversation, right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me
Domestic,
hear them.
it finishes with 127.2. International 109.2 for a worldwide total of 236.4.
Right, that's good enough to put us on the 29 spot in our list, just behind Scary Movies, 278, and ahead of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, 177.5. So yeah, 236 off of a 76 budget, plus even though we don't have the numbers, you probably made some bank on the DVD sale. This is not a home run, but you didn't strike out.
Yeah, and I mean, like, like some of the international number is good, I think. I think for back then, 109 million for a movie like this is like pretty solid.
Yeah, and it shows that there's interest there because especially as these movies would go on, the international number really carries these movies for the later installments.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's just interesting. It does pretty well in Japan, like 6.5 million. Like, it
Well,
kind
yeah,
of racks up
Wild Speed,
totals
of
from like
course.
the countries you've heard of, like Mexico. Yeah, Wild Speed X2, of course, man. Mexico, it pulls in like 7.5. Germany and France are both over 10 million. So, like, I think you're kind of tapping into here, like, why they keep making these movies. And it's because I think cars are just like a pretty universal thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's something you talk about a lot with blockbusters today. Like, they have to be like four quadrant, is that what they call it? Like, it's got to
Yep.
be like four quadrant movies. And like, the big thing everybody always says about Avatar is like you want to keep the story simple so that it can translate like kind of across languages. And it's like, I don't know, like this may be a bit dramatic, but I feel like you're kind of seeing that same principle here where it's just like you don't really need to speak English to understand what's going on in a car chase. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
in
no,
big fancy
absolutely.
like customized cars with like the NOS button and everything. It's like it translates well.
Yeah, no, 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 and I definitely see that too. And you can see them starting to build that here. Because there's another friend like is it's kind of like same thing with like the Jurassic Park movies. It's like people like dinosaur. Everybody likes dinosaurs. Like we just make a movie about, dinosaurs messing with people. Like that's four quadrants right there. Like people like cars. Just
Right.
put a bunch of people in a car chases and maybe add like a little bit of a spy element to it later on, and people are gonna like it.
Right. And like you could show an alien a movie about dinosaurs and they'll get it. They're like, "Oh, that's a big scary thing that's trying to eat them." Okay.
Yeah.
that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I can definitely see what you're saying. And I mean it works because this movie makes 236 million, and then you're talking only a few movies later, they're making 800 million, $1 billion on some of these.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty weak domestic run, but that international total obviously gives them another crack at it because they make Tokyo Drift. And then there's probably a big gap after that one before they're like, what if we just like made these absolutely insane action blockbusters? Like
Yeah, because it's really the start of the fourth one when they get the whole band back together that they really start to just take off to the moon with being like, let's not worry about physics, gravity, any type of real world scenario stuff. Toss it out. We don't need it.
yeah, they're basically they just say like, what if these movies were like superhero movies?
Yeah, pretty much. Like Vin Diesel is
Like,
basically Captain America in these movies. Like he's
yeah,
the
but
guy.
even before they were doing that, when they were kind of just like crummy, like fast car movies, like they still were popular. You know, still had wide appeal. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, hey, yeah, it was good enough to give them another crack at it and see that if they tweaked just enough, they can definitely see some good returns, and it definitely pays off for them. Reception wise for this movie, though, it can see why it kind of just dripped off pretty quickly. Critics not a fan of this movie, Jimbo.
You don't say.
36% on Rotten Tomatoes. It seems not everybody is smitten with fast cars. But the audience, however, is split halfway. It's 50% for the audience. So, not
Yeah,
terrible.
it feels like that's kind of more of the same thing though, where it's just like critics are like, yeah, but this movie is not very good, and the audience is like, yeah, but there's like fast cars and hot chicks in it, so like, what? I
Yeah.
don't know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like it gave me what I needed. Like, why do I need anything else? IMDb sits at a 5.9. But Cinema Score, the opening weekend people, Jim, they were speaking. Too Fast, Too Furious, rocking an A minus.
Whoa, the coveted cinema score A
Yeah,
minus.
the coveted A minus right there. Like that year, it's crazy that this dropped off so quick. A minus is a surefire, bona fide hit right there as far as we're concerned in cinema score language.
Yeah, I think people listened to critics a lot more back then. I think if you heard like on the radio or like read in the newspaper that a movie was shitty, you were like, yeah, I probably just won't go see it.
Yeah, and you're like, maybe we'll avoid that one. But now we got some user critics, Jim. Well,
Oh yes, my
we play a
favorite
lovely
part.
game called Is this a real review or is this a troll?
Yeah.
So our first user review giving Too Fast Too Furious a 1 out of 10 on IMDb, calling this movie too flaccid, too ridiculous. He goes, "Look, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's Too Fast Too Furious, spewing soon into a pair of underpants near you."
Jesus Christ.
That's the review.
Spewing? That evokes a pretty clear image, I think.
Yep, that's the review.
That's the whole review.
That's
That
the
was
whole,
real. That guy really hated this movie.
that's
Yeah,
the
I could
whole,
tell. He was trying like it was he was trying to be funny, but it wasn't like troll funny. You know what I
yeah,
mean? He
yeah.
just hated it.
That dude was truly upset. Another fantastic one-star review is one single sentence. The guy writes, "How many times can Paul Walker say, bruh?"
There's the limit does not exist.
I would argue he says "cuz" a lot more than "bro."
Yeah, he does, and he says it like in a way that I don't know that I've heard many white guys say it. Let's put it that way. Like it feels like almost like offensive at times where I'm like, "Hey, should he really be doing that? I don't know."
He's so good, so good.
Like that was the quarterback from Varsity Blues, right? Like
Yeah,
can he pull that off? I don't know.
I'm
It's
not
fantastic.
gonna tell him no. And then we
No, I
got
mean I'm not gonna tell him no. I'm just gonna question. I'm gonna wonder when I watch that, you know?
amazing. All right, and then we got one more one-star one here. Uh, this guy's review. Promoting false macho images through models driving cars. Fast cars equals strength and popularity. Is American pop culture helping to promote stupidity through dangerous activities instead of intelligence? Let's just hope this film helps American teens kill each other trying more street racing, just like in the movie. Maybe then less will forget to vote.
All right. So now we're getting it. This is a good one because I can't tell if that guy's just like absolutely batshit crazy or he's just a troll. Like it's one of the two. I was leaning toward troll in the beginning. Like I think it gets there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I'm pretty sure that's a troll. I would bet troll. What do you think?
I don't. I mean, I
Like when
you
he
would
gets
hope
into the like hopefully this kills more
those more
American
kids.
teens, like Jesus, dude.
You would hope that's a troll, but on a lot of things that I've seen people write today, I could easily also see this being somebody who's just insane.
I mean, it's got real chud energy. It's
It does.
got like
Got,
like
it's
maybe then
got
they'd be smarter.
yeah, it's got really chud energy. Like dangerous activities instead of intelligence.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe then they'd remember to vote like I vote.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like, dude, it's a movie.
yeah, like, dude, it's like a popcorn movie too. Like, what were you expecting? Like Dostoevsky? Like, come on, man.
Dude, he was maybe this is just Vin Diesel, you know, he wanted more Citizen Kane and got too much
Yeah,
stupidity.
yeah. He would have loved the movie Vin Diesel wanted to make. I'm sure of it.
It's it, dude. It's absolutely true. And then I wanted to punctuate a 10 out of 10 user review on
Yeah,
IMDb.
we
You know,
gotta get at
just
least 110 in there.
gotta see at least somebody
Because
who,
that's where
who
I
likes
think the trolls are gonna be living. That's
this.
where.
Yeah. So this person, I like the original. I like the sequel. Am I a dumb teenage boy? No. I'm a mature female. Do I fancy Paul Walker? Nope. Do I fancy any of the chicks in this? Nope. because I don't swing this way. So why did I like this movie? I liked it because I saw it for what it was. Fun.
Damn. That I don't know if I would say that's a troll, but that's definitely somebody having a good time writing that
Yeah.
review.
Like, I love great review. Am I a dumb teenage boy? No, I'm a mature
Yeah, they're like
female.
predicting all of the ways people will dismiss their review. Like,
Like,
you're just like a dumb teenage boy. You just got the hots for Paul Walker.
yeah, dude, it's so funny. It's like absolutely just amazing.
I
And then
like
one,
that they point out that they aren't a lesbian in it
yeah,
too.
yeah, it's so
They're like,
good. Like,
"Oh, you thought I was hot? I was into the
yeah, right,
chicks? Nope, I don't even
right.
swing that way."
You think I like Paul? No. You think I like the girls? No. I like fun,
That's.
and I'm
I think
here
that one's
for it.
real. I think that one's real. That's
Oh,
somebody with
I
a
definitely
strong
think.
opinion that they want you to hear.
And then the one last one, which I loved because I think this one is real. Also, let me hear what you think. So
Okay.
this person's 10 out of 10 review. Expected nothing, but loved everything. I'm a 53-year-old woman, and I didn't even want to go to this movie. I thought the previews looked boring and figured it would be a waste without Vin Diesel. It was refreshing to see how good this movie was. I was mesmerized. So refreshing to have a show with good plot, no boring parts, but not continual brain numbing action either. Unique and believable actors. It was, in other words, a lot of class.
A lot of class.
Yeah.
There's no way. You could have given me a million guesses, and I never would have said somebody thought this movie had class.
Like just a 53-year-old woman who just like, I had a great time at the movies tonight.
Dude,
I'm gonna go
that's
write
starting to
about it.
get suspicious in these 10 out of 10 reviews though, where everybody's like, I'm a senior citizen woman. Like, I'm retired and I have 3 kids and I love this movie. It's like it's starting to feel like a little astroturfy.
It's so funny. Listen, dude, don't discount the female persuasion on Fast and
No,
Furious.
no, I
They love
don't. What I'm questioning is why all of the females leaving a review on this movie feel the need to be like, and I'm a female.
it.
Like,
Maybe they think they're like cars, like guys think we don't know anything about cars. We like cars, they go vroom vroom.
yeah, I don't know. It's very odd. It's very odd.
Great reviews. Great reviews for Too Fast and Furious. Thank you, people out there. And I try to stick to the reviews too, that are written as close to when the movie came out. So I don't do anything from like that someone wrote like yesterday. I always find
Yeah,
the
that's smart. That's
wrong.
smart. Yeah, because I
Like,
like the whole like time capsule part of this.
yeah, like I want to see the people that wrote these a week or two after these movies came out. I don't care what Joe Schmo who watched it yesterday over a bong hit thinks about it. I want to know what that
I mean,
50-year-old lady who got dragged there has to say about it.
it's you basically just described the show. Joe Schmo, who watched this movie yesterday over a bong hit. I don't know, dude. It seems that you
that's
might be that guy.
that's my entire MO. Calling myself out here. Amazing. But all right, I think we've done our due diligence. It's time that we dive into this bad boy. Uh, and let's hear it, Jim. What do you enjoy about this movie?
I mean, it's just I think that 53-year-old woman put it hit the nail on the head. It's just like a lot of fun, you know?
Yeah, no, it is. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it this time. And I'll be the first to also admit, like, it's not a great movie. It's not particularly a good movie, but it is a very entertaining movie. Like, I was never
Yeah.
bored at all watching this movie.
I mean, the opening race is I enjoy that scene so much. Like the whole like arc of it where they're like, "Oh man, we're down a guy." And Ludacris is
Yeah.
like, "I know a guy."
The only notes I took were all in that opening scene because I was like, this is the most insane opening scene I've ever seen. Like it's
Yeah, like
the
how did they
the
get control of that bridge?
yeah,
Like,
absolutely. I think got control of anything. Like Ludacris is just I love what makes me laugh so much in this movie is going back and watching these movies, seeing like where these characters go to in later installments. Because in this one, Ludacris is just like he's just kind of like the guy you know in town that can like get you anything you need. And then in the later ones, he's a tech genius that's like hacking into like secret government like conspiracy that like he's like hacking into government facilities in like the ninth one.
Jeez.
Like,
Yeah, I kind of felt he was more like he was like tapped into like the crime scene in Miami is how I took it.
yeah.
Like
Like
he
he's
was like
just
kind of like a guy who knew a lot of guys who could make
yeah.
things happen, and like that the car thing was just kind of like more his like leisure activities. Although I guess he did own a garage too.
Yeah, he owns a garage. That's probably like a front for him to like funnel money through, right?
Yeah, like I don't know. I got the feeling that like just watching this, it didn't seem like he was just a car guy. It seemed like he like knew too much and like was able to do too much and like was tapped into some kind of criminal underbelly.
Yeah. It also makes me laugh because he has that like blink and you'll miss it backstory where they ask why he's not racing. And he's like, I took a car to like a wall too fast, and now like racing's done for me. And now we're like 8 movies later, and he's flying in space and drifting in cars like onto
Yeah,
submarines.
they got it. It would be cool if they like showed him getting over his fear. I doubt that's what happened though.
No, they never, dude, they never mention that ever again.
Yeah. Also, his backstory is maybe one of my like maybe one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. When Tyrese first meets Ludacris, and Paul Walker's like, "Yeah, he's just the guy to go to if you need anything Miami. That's just the way it is." It's
Yeah.
like,
It's
well,
like,
like,
what?
okay, cool. It's just the way it is. No reason to understand why.
It's like, okay, yeah, sure. Why
I
not?
just thought, like, just you could have even not put that line in the movie and it would have been fine. But it's just so funny to me. Like, it's like somebody in a room somewhere is like, but no, but like, how do we know he's the guy that you got to see? And they're like, it's just the way it is, man.
Yeah, it's just how it is. I do like one of my favorite things in movies is, especially in sequels, and prequels and like later movies, is how you reintroduce your characters again. And I think that, like you were saying before, like the reintroduction of Brian in this is just great. The same way that you said, like they're like, we need a fourth guy for a race, otherwise the race is off. And Ludacris kind of like baits them into being like, well, I could get a guy, and he's like, oh, who's your guy? And then he's like, he makes a call, and it's to Brian, and like
Yeah,
Brian's gonna
yeah,
like
and
show up to the race.
he says I need the money, by the way, or like I could use the money. And then he shows up and he's like, how about we make it like 50,000? And I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, are you sure you need the money? That's like a lot of money that you're just gambling. I
yeah.
don't know.
And if
Like,
you could use the money, like, do you even have that money to stake? Like, where'd you get that?
yeah, I think he did. Or maybe
Probably.
Ludacris was staking him. I don't know. They don't really make it clear, but he
Yeah.
obviously
Well,
wins the
that's
race.
that's a theme in this movie is not making anything clear. They're like, just go for the ride. You don't need to have anything explained. We're not going to elaborate. You're just here.
Yeah. It's
Also,
one of how
yeah,
about that villain move Cole Hauser pulls in the beginning when he's like he gives them the test mission and then he just owns the lot that they're stealing from.
yeah,
So it's like this whole like contrived thing. And then he makes them pay for the gate. It's like, dude, you couldn't just hire two drivers. Like,
yeah,
why is this so elaborate? I don't
everything. But dude,
understand.
even his plan where he's like, I need 2 insane drivers to drive this to the drive. It's like, why? What, like, why do you need any of that?
Yeah. Well,
Like, you're
because they gotta have the cool cars, man. It's Miami. You
Oh, I
gotta do it
know,
in
but it's
style.
but that's they need it because the movie demands they need it. Like you would in real life, like this is a horrible route to go if you're trying to
No,
like lay low and everything. You're like, let me just get these 2 ostentatious drivers in the most like brightly colored, souped
yeah,
up cars you've ever seen.
he's in like a purple, like bright purple with like the most like fanciest spoiler you've ever seen. Like,
Yeah, it's like what? Like talk about drawing attention to yourself, man. This is a horrible fucking plan.
yeah. I mean, it's part of what makes it so great, though. And that like the scene when they first meet Tyrese, I love. He's at the demolition
Yeah, the
derby and
demo
he's got the
derby.
ankle monitor.
Yeah, he's got a good reintroduction also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great that guy in this movie. The guy who plays Dexter Morgan's dad in
Yeah, yeah.
Dexter.
Yep,
He's
James
like the
Remar's in it.
FBI agent. And that's another part of the movie where it's just like, man, I don't understand how this makes any sense at all. When they like when the FBI shows up to that Cole Hauser thing that I was just talking about, where they have to like break into the impound lot or whatever, the FBI is like, "Oh, they're stealing a car." It's like, dude, do you not think that like you sent them undercover? Like, what do you think is happening right now?
Yeah, like he's like,
Like
I'll
you
send them
show up and
undercover.
like just like try and bust them for something. It's like, dude, they were your undercover guys. It doesn't make any sense.
Like the first chance he got, he immediately just jumped to they're just leaving. They're running away. We got to stop them. It's like, dude,
Yeah,
what are you
amazing though,
doing?
because it ends in like a shootout. And then after the shootout, they go back and they have like an argument over burgers. It's like you guys were just trying to murder each other 20 seconds ago.
It's yeah, it's absolutely. And then there's Paul Walker just being like, it ain't no thing, cuz.
Yeah, yeah. It's just interesting how they turn those FBI agents into kind of like dual antagonists throughout the thing. Like I guess they felt like it needed to be more interesting through the middle, but also crazy. Like, don't they light those guys' cars on fire?
Yeah. Yep. Yes, they do. It's so insane. It's just
But
so
yeah, to your point though, not a lot of it makes sense, but all of it's like super fun. Like
yeah,
I'm never really 100% sure what's happening, but the whole time I'm like, oh cool, they're gonna pull like a sneak move on him. I don't know why they're doing that, but it's cool. He's like sneaking up on him and he's the decoy. Okay.
yeah. Like it's they make it. John Singleton is a great director, so he makes it fun. He keeps it breezy. And when if you before you even have time to sit and think about how stupid of what just happened, you're already on to the next flashy thing and you're forgetting what happened.
Yeah. I do
Which is
think
kind of what
that
these movies are. It's just like flashy girls, flashy cars, fast things going fast, bad, furious things going furious.
yeah, right. Like if there's ever a movie for you to be
You're not
like, why
thinking.
are they doing the drug deal in that like obvious drug dealer bright purple car? And it's like, because it's too fast, too furious. That's what, like, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
The question is why are you asking questions?
Yeah, exactly. If there was ever a movie to do things just because the movie needs it, it's this
Yes.
movie for sure.
Yeah. I will say this movie does have one moment of absolute insane tonality change where the
Okay.
tone of this movie is so breezy and fun. And then out of nowhere, Cole Hauser just tries to burn a rat into a guy's
Oh,
stomach.
yeah.
And it was like,
Yes.
dude, this movie took a turn so quickly.
Yeah, it gets real dark there for a second. And then that's like, it's right after that that he decides he's going to kill them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, after they do the deal.
Which it's just so funny too because it's like I guess he's now convinced that like these are the only two drivers who can pull it off, so he has to wait until afterward to kill him. Like is there really not two other drivers that could do it?
But also like he doesn't even like there's probably a bunch of other options he could have went by without even using drivers. It's like even just the bare plan of what he's going to do to hire these guys is still like, why do you need to do it this route?
Yeah, you're not wrong. He's supposed to be like a big wig like criminal. Like I'm sure it's weird that he's even so involved in choosing who the drivers are.
Yeah, it's insane.
But
Or
it's
that
all
like
part of what gives the movie its charm though. Like all these things like are sound like nitpicks or things that I didn't like, but none of them do I really care about. They just make it like so much more fun.
yeah, I mean no, it is fun. I will give them that. Poor Eva Mendes is criminally wasted in this movie. Doesn't really have
Yeah.
anything to do.
Yeah, she's seriously just like I think
There.
supposed did like her and Paul Walker end up together or something at the end? I don't even know
No,
honestly.
no, she's just like see you around at the end.
Oh, yeah, well
And we
that's
never
okay.
see
That's
her
close
around.
enough. In movies, that's close enough.
Yeah, she's the one like one of the few characters they've never brought back in any of these later sequels.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you would think like that's a tailor-made. Like Ava Mendes became like went on to be a big star. Like you'd think you'd want to sandwich her back in there somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like maybe part of the problem is at this point, even if you're like a woman lead in a Fast and the Furious movie, you probably need to be doing like Krav Maga. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if like I think of Eva Mendes when I think of action star. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, especially where these movies end up taking. It might be tougher to come in at this point.
yeah, it's like if you brought Eva Mendes back, you'd be like, "All right, Eva, day 2, we're gonna film the fist fight you have with Ronda Rousey." It's like, what? Like, I don't know if
Yeah,
I
but
signed up for this.
We're gonna be dropping 800 cars out of a parking garage while you guys have to
Yeah,
like careen around it.
right. Like she doesn't strike me as somebody who would do her own stunts, you know? Like what's the craziest movie Ava Mendes has been in?
That's true. Yeah, I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you. I don't think she's really done a crazy movie that would require much stunt work. She leaves that to her husband. That's Gosling's job.
Yeah, she's kind of more like in rom-coms and stuff, like romantic movies, right?
Yeah, yeah, or like just straight dramas. So yeah, I will say another thing. Never thought I would see in a Fast and Furious movie a Goodwill Hunting reference.
Wait,
When
what was the Goodwill Hunting reference? I don't
they're
remember.
driving in one of the when they're doing the test and they're all doing the crazy drives. There's a point where Brian does a sweet move to get around them and everything, and he shouts out to them, "How do you like them apples?"
Oh, I don't. Is that a Goodwill Hunting reference? I think that's just a
Yeah,
phrase people
that's
say.
I feel
I mean,
like
I
I
know they
don't
say it
really see
in
that in
Goodwill
movies
Hunting.
before. That's as close to a Goodwill Hunting reference as you're gonna get in movies.
I see. I only think that counts if you ask them if they like apples first. I think you have to do
Oh
the
my
whole thing for it to
god.
be a Goodwill Hunting reference.
All right, it's tangentially a Goodwill Hunting reference. I'm choosing
Because
to take it.
I'm trying to think. That's just like a thing people say. Like they've been saying it
I
before
don't
Goodwill
remember ever
Hunting
hearing
too.
that before Goodwill Hunting, and I'm using this as a reference simply because I watched Goodwill Hunting maybe 2 days before I watched Too Fast Too Furious.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was sitting strong right there, and I'm gonna stand by it as a Goodwill Hunting reference.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna just go ahead and disagree with you. I think you either need to ask them if they like apples first, or you have to be like, I got a number.
He's like, I got Nas. How you like them apples?
Yeah, yeah, there you go, exactly, yeah. Or like in the opening race when he passes what was her name? Suki?
Yeah.
When he passes her, he's like, I got a number. How do you like them apples? Like then it would be a Goodwill Hunting reference, yeah.
There's that moment with Ludacris when he's collecting Suki's money and he's like, damn, Suki, when you gonna let me pop that clutch?
Yeah, yeah, that whole relationship was weird too. I liked it because I thought it was cool that she stayed in the movie, but her and Ludacris really like hit it off, kind of off screen.
Yeah. They have all of them in that opening car chase too are that guys and gals that have popped up in plenty of stuff.
Oh
Uh
yeah, for sure.
yeah, Suki is I think her name is Devin Aoki. She was in
Yep.
Sin City. Um what's it? The black guy is Michael Ealy, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the guy who's betting his rent money is Michael Ealy, who's been in a number of movies.
Oh yes, yes, definitely.
Yeah, what was that movie that you and me went and saw that he was in that we loved? With Morris Chestnut too. Crap, what was it? They were like fighting over the girl. The Perfect Guy.
Yeah, The Perfect Guy is
Perfect Guy.
awesome.
Yeah, you
The
remember? Yeah,
Perfect
yeah,
Guy is a great movie.
yeah. Michael Ealy, just absolutely great. And
That
then
The Perfect Guy, and then did you ever see Confessions of a Marriage Counselor with me? Did we go to that?
no, no, I didn't see that one with you.
I might have saw that with my sister. He's not in it, but I feel like they came out like pretty close together, and they were
Or at the
movies
same
I
time.
saw in the same summer, and I was like all about both of them.
Yeah, great, just great movies. And then the Spanish driver, I don't know his name, but I've seen him in so many things. Like he was on Prison Break. He's in one of my favorite Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes. So just a cast of characters thrown into this movie.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of people who are really like pushing it over the top. Yeah,
Yeah,
because again, that opening scene is fantastic. I'm
yeah.
so in on that movie after the
Well,
opening
so
race.
two things made me laugh so hard in that opening scene. One was Ludacris telling Brian that he only had 4 minutes to get to the race, which seems criminally like not enough time at all.
Yeah,
It's
right,
when he was like,
right.
dude, you got 4 minutes to get there. I was like, dude, there's no like you can't make it in 4 minutes. Like, fuck off. Like
Yeah,
no
dude,
way.
hold on. We missed a really important that guy.
Oh, okay. Who did I miss?
It's the guy who plays not Harvey Dent in like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. The guy who plays like the crooked cop Harvey.
Oh, yeah, the guy who gets the rat on him.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's
he was
the
on
guy who gets the rat. He's in like
yeah,
Memento, Batman
he-
Begins.
he was on Sons of Anarchy.
I think so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, yeah,
haven't
yeah.
seen that show in so long, but yes, I think you're right
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, he was on Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, yeah, no, that yeah, another that guy, absolutely.
Top tier that guy.
Yeah,
Because he's
top
like, I couldn't tell you that guy's name if you gave me a million guesses, but like, if I saw his face, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's in
that
so
guy.
much stuff.
Yeah, you could put me on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with a four choice multiple choice for that guy's name, and I'd never get it.
I'm actually gonna look it up right now because I kind of that's kind of what I want to do with that guys. I want to start learning more about who they are.
Learning more of that guys. And while you
Mark
do that,
Boone Jr.
yeah, that's the name, all right. Mark Boone Jr.
I have to keep an eye out for Mark Boone Jr. in the future.
Whenever he pops up and other stuff. And then this second thing that definitely had to be a choice in this movie that I find amazing and I loved every time they did it was them treating like when they turned Nos on, like it was them going to warp speed.
Yeah, yeah. Like they
Absolutely.
all would like get peeled back into their chairs.
Yeah, and like you just see like the colors start to just meld behind them as it's just like shooting faster than they can track. I was like,
Yeah.
that had to have been a choice, and I love them for making it.
Yeah, it's such a cool visual decision to make because, like, obviously, it's not like that's not what happens when you push that button. Like, you just go a lot faster. Like, colors
Yeah,
don't blur.
that's yeah, but
Yeah,
that's a great way to visualize how much faster they go when you turn Nos on.
right, right. It's like it's a cue for the audience, which yeah, I think it works really well. I'm
It
with you.
works really well, and that's definitely a John Singleton move right there.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So fantastic. I also find it funny that this movie and then like 9 months later, Starsky and Hutch will come out, and they both have endings where they have to drive their super fast car onto a boat.
yeah, dude.
Like,
Starsky and Hutch, by the way, that's got to be an upcoming episode, right? I'm pretty sure we saw that movie together.
oh, it's coming in the bank. Yeah. Well, once we start falling into our 2004 era.
Nice.
So yeah, so I find that really funny. Tyrese Gibson also great in this movie, and he's another person like Ludacris that gets absolutely butchered as these movies go on. What I find great about this movie for his character is that he actually feels like a three-dimensional character because he still has those moments where he's kind of playing the comic relief, but he still has, the serious gravitas behind him where he's, this ex-con get out of prison, has an axe to grind still. So he takes a lot of stuff seriously and he still feels like a dude that you wouldn't want to mess with. Where in the
Yeah, yeah.
later ones, they strip all of that away and he's literally just the dumb comic relief.
Oh, Tyrese Gibson.
Yeah, he's there just to play the fool, like in the later movie.
Yeah. That's
And
interesting because I mean, yeah, like I guess like you can only have so many guys like flexing, right? Like it's like there's got to be
yeah,
somebody who has like takes a different lane.
yeah, I mean, you can only have so many Vin Diesels, and especially as this movie goes on later, and you have Vin Diesel and The Rock vying for who can be the most testosterone-filled dude in this movie.
Yeah, well, and also like especially because like we talked about before, that character is probably just supposed to be Vin Diesel's character. You know what I mean? So it's like you're kind of in this movie, you're filling that lane because there's no Vin Diesel. He turned it down, you know.
Yeah, so
But in
like
later movies, there is, so you don't need him to be that thing.
so once you're rounding him out and bringing him back, you're like, we need him to fill this different space. So we're like, what if we just make him the buffoon?
Yeah, that is a shame though.
Yeah,
He was good in that Demolition Derby.
he is. Although he does have a few moments in here of buffoonery where you're like, yeah, that's definitely the way we're gonna take him. When he's like, ejectocito, cuz.
You know what they should do?
What?
They should make another spin-off movie. It's a prequel, and it's all about Tyrese Gibson at the Demolition Derby. Just the whole movie is about the
Oh
Demolition
my God.
Derby.
It's just all him.
It's his early days of getting out on an ankle monitor.
Oh my God. That's only if Vin Diesel will allow it, man. He was heavily upset about the Hobbs and Shaw spinoff.
Was he really?
Yeah, dude. Vin
Why?
Diesel, that's his bread and butter, man. You can't be getting spinoffs without him.
I mean, I guess so. That
We're a
actually kind of makes
family.
sense. If they feel like they can make a lot of money on Fast and the Furious movies that don't have Vin Diesel in them, that's bad for Vin Diesel.
Yeah, bad for the brand, man. He is Fast and Furious.
That's golly, man. It's so funny to me that everything you say about Vin Diesel in this episode is like he's just so protective of the franchise. He
It's his
just
baby.
genuinely cares so much. You know why? Because it's like his family.
It's his family, man. He's a mother hen, and those are his chicklets. He must take care of them. Oh man. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about that. It's a fun movie. It's absolute lunacy if you try to break down even a second of this movie. But you know, if you're just out to have a good time, see some car chases and some good looking guys and gals, you could do much worse than this movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely enjoyable. At the end of the day, it mostly just made me want to watch Tokyo Drift, but
Yeah.
it was
And
enjoyable.
I will say for this, after having seen the dregs of what's to come with this franchise, watching this one was like a breath of fresh air compared to
Yeah,
sitting through some of the later installments of this movie. So that's definitely a mark in its favor. It's aged better thanks to this franchise continuing on.
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like if this franchise died after Tokyo Drift, I don't know how well this movie would stack up today. But the fact that we've now had 10 Fast and the Furious movies and a spin-off, these earlier installments look better and better. At least in my
Yeah, I
eye.
can see that. I can see that. I mean, this is the movie people point to and they're like, "Can't they just get back to the street racing?" You know, like
I want to get
this
back
is
to
what
the
they're talking
culture,
about.
baby. Yeah, we've gone too far from the culture.
Although they might argue that this movie probably got a little too far away from the culture because Tokyo Drift and the first one are much more just rooted in like people racing.
Yeah, but
This
also
does
like
have a lot more of the crime aspect.
yeah, but I also like in these earlier ones that they tried to do a different subculture of racing because like the first one we're looking at like the LA crime racing and like the South Central area of them, and then in this
Right.
one it's the Miami subculture, and then in Tokyo Drift you're going to like the Japanese culture of racing. So like I like that they take the different cultures within these groups. And then with the fourth one, they were like, what if we just made James Bond, but with the Fast and the Furious
Yeah,
characters?
yeah. Also, the only other scene I want to point out before we move on, the whole two like tag team drag race was so silly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's
Like so
ridiculous.
silly. Everybody was racing so dirty. Paul Walker played like the most amazing game of chicken with that guy
Yeah.
to win the muscle cars.
Not only that, when they do, yeah, oh, fuck, what is that part? I'm thinking of a different scene than you are. I realize now that it's the one when they're fighting for the pink slips. When you first said that at first, I was thinking of the scene where they're all just racing to get to the test scene.
Oh
Basically,
yeah, no,
that's
not
the one.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of when you said that. I'd completely
It's like they
forgotten. But
run
they
into
have
those guys
the
again
night.
later and they're like, "We'll race you for your muscle cars."
Yeah, they have like the nighttime race scene is the one you're talking about. Yeah, they're like, we'll race back, out and back.
Yeah, and Paul Walker is a literal psychopath. He's playing chicken with that guy. He runs him off the road.
Yeah, just so that he can have a moment to come back into the race. Yeah, dude, Brian lives on the edge, man. He doesn't have the law behind him anymore. He's a lone wolf, just out for blood.
Yeah, and then another favorite line. The guy in the other car when he's playing chicken with him is like, "Good move, man." Like he's like he totally respects it and he like says it out loud in his car to nobody. It's so great.
Or even like later when they're doing the whole big actual heist drop and they have the bad guy's henchman in the cars with them and he's running from the cops and that one henchman just goes, "You're a good driver." He's like, "Thanks, cuz."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like,
totally.
fucking movie, man.
It's just like because there's somebody out there who's like, "Oh, that guy respects him now, but he's still got to kill him." Whoa.
Yeah, right.
Like that's what they're going for. It's so funny.
Oh my god, I love it. I love it. Yeah, and that's you got anything else to add for this lovely installment?
No, that's really it. That's really it.
And I can definitely imagine this movie got plenty of love in the teen award circuits.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's get into the IMDb here.
I'm sure they love like it's got to be a classic duo, Paul Walker, Tyrese Gibson. If they're not in line for best duo, than the Teen
I
Choice.
mean, it's I gotta bring up. I'm assuming the Teen Choice Awards are gonna be here. I haven't quite seen it yet. Okay, this is a good first one. Um, 2004 Grammy Awards. Best song written for a motion picture.
Yeah, let's go.
Can you guess what song?
The title song, right? Too Fast, Too Furious by
No,
Ludacris.
no, it's Ludacris Act a Fool,
Oh,
which was a really great song. It was huge in like 2000 in the early
oh yeah,
2000s
dude.
for sure.
You couldn't get much bigger in the early 2000s than Ludacris.
It was nominated. It didn't win.
Oh, what did it lose to?
Let's take a look here.
Yeah, who wrote a better song for movies that year? I dare you to find a better song.
I mean, I'm gonna just step out on a limb here and say that whatever we hear the winner is, we're gonna be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like,
Because the year
we're like,
before
yeah,
had to,
okay. I could see how somebody would pick that over Ludacris.
because we're a year out. The previous year would have been Lose Yourself for Eminem. Like he shouldn't be going up against Eminem at this Grammy for this, right?
Yeah, but
I think I have my
I
years
mean, yeah,
together.
Lose Yourself would be up there, I'm sure. I think maybe you're putting yourself too much into the rap box.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
just
don't know what I'm thinking.
it's just songs that are written for like any movie, right? So hold on, I'm having a little trouble finding it. I did find the best compilation soundtrack, which Chicago eventually won. Might give you an idea where this is headed.
Ah, yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. If it's just written for a movie, a musical would be top of the line. But goddamn, the ludicrous honorable mention. You did
Give
what
me
you
one
could.
second here.
It was a valiant effort by Luda. Luda.
Okay. So yeah, this is actually interesting. Okay, song written for a motion picture, television, or other visual medium. Uh, 8 Mile, "Lose Yourself" was nominated
Oh shit.
this year. "I Move On from Chicago" was nominated. "The Hands That Built America" from Gangs of New
Oh, Gangs
York
of
by
New York.
U2.
Fucking awful song.
Wait, now hold on. When they say written for a motion picture, does that song wasn't couldn't possibly have been in Gangs of New York, right?
It was. It played at the like the end of the movie for the like right as the credits are about to roll because the end of Gangs of New York has the fast forward.
Oh, right. It's that
Credit
shot
top.
where they like show you the New York skyline
Yeah,
growing, right?
yeah. And it starts to play that song.
Wow. So
Fucking
okay, the song by
hilarious.
U2 was nominated.
And this is not the year for LL Cool J's Deepest Bluest. My head is like a shark's fin from Deep Blue Sea.
No, the eventual winner, and I'm
Damn.
not thinking that I didn't feel about this the way that I thought I would. The eventual winner was "A Mighty Wind" from the movie "A Mighty Wind" with Christopher
Well,
Guest.
that's deflating.
Yeah, songwriter Eugene Levy. That won over "Lose Yourself" by Eminem and U2. Get out of
Oh
here.
my
Eugene
God.
Levy won a Grammy over those people. That is maybe my
Yeah,
favorite Grammy fact.
that's hilarious. Sorry, Luda.
So then, hold on, let's go. Sorry for that long trip into the Grammys. I'm so used to just going through the Teen Choice Awards that it's much easier to find what I'm looking for.
Feel like that's a lost commodity is the musician writing the song for the movie. We need our Will Smiths, our Ludas. We need to bring
Yeah,
that back.
I mean,
I
yeah,
want a
that's
title
fair.
song
Like
for the
people who
movie.
are in the movie, yeah. So it's also going to be nominated for 2 Razzies.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That sounds about right. Let's see here. It's going to be
Take most
nominated.
insane villain.
No, not worst insane villain. It's going to be nominated for worst remake or sequel, which we
Okay,
talked about in the Dumb and Dumber episode. It eventually loses to Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
insane. Dumb and Dumber is way worse, but okay.
Yeah. And then it's also nominated for worst excuse for an actual movie.
Ooh, yeah, that's
And then this
that's a
category is worst
nomination.
excuse for an actual movie, and then in parentheses it says all concept slash no content. I could have sworn this movie was the exact opposite of that, actually, but
Oh, concept. No, God, amazing. What I need to hear the other nominees for this.
yeah. So Charlie's Angels Full Throttle was also nominated, but like
What
they
doesn't
have this
win?
so backwards because these movies are all content. Like it's all like Cameron Diaz like snowboarding down a mountain in a bra, like on like a porta potty door. Like that's
Yeah.
content.
I
You know
guess
what I
maybe
mean?
they
Like
instead of content, they should have said like substance or something like that.
yeah, right.
Content
Like
doesn't feel like the right adjective to use.
yeah. So Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, From Justin to Kelly, Too Fast Too Furious, The Real Cancun, which I've never heard of,
What?
and then the winner is The Cat in the Hat.
Oh, well, we'll see you soon, Cat in the Hat.
Yeah,
The real
and then
Cancun sounds
finally,
like a softcore porno.
yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I want to know. it's this movie is gonna crush at the. It's gonna get a lot of nominations at the Black Reel Awards. It's nominated for Best Soundtrack. John Singleton gets nominated for Best Director. Ludacris gets nominated for Best Song.
Nice.
There's two nominees for Best Song here. Joe Budden gets nominated for Pump It Up, which is like an all-time jam. If you played Madden in like 2003, Joe Budden's Pump It Up is like one of the best songs ever. And then finally, we end up in the place we always seem to end up, the Teen Choice Awards.
Oh yeah, TCA baby.
It is. So like I don't understand how the Teen Choice Awards works, man. Because it's nominated in two different years. Like
What?
I don't
How?
understand this. Okay, hold on. It might make a little more sense. Let's go through them. So
Okay.
in 2003, it's gonna win two Teen Choice Awards.
Okay.
It's the 2003 Teen Choice for Movie Chemistry.
Yeah, baby.
I am gonna give you like 1,000 guesses as to what it wins. It wins for Teen Choice Movie Chemistry. What do you think is the movie chemistry that wins?
All right. Well, it can't be between Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson because that's the layup right there. That's what you would expect it should win.
I will say it is not between those two.
Is it between Paul Walker and Ava Mendes?
It is not between Paul Walker and Eva Mendes.
Then who the fuck could it is it between Ludacris and Devin Aoki?
No, they are also not. I'll tell you, you have Paul Walker right.
Oh my God. Is it between oh God, Paul Walker and is it the fucking cop that he's like working with, Billingsley or whatever his name
No, this is so great. I cannot wait to tell you what the answer is. So,
is?
the
Give me the
answer, the teen choice for movie chemistry is for Paul Walker and his car. It's so amazing. Like,
fuck out of here.
first of all, which one? I guess it's the one he drives for like the second half of the movie, the car he gets from
Yeah.
the cops, because his car in the beginning, they have some pretty
Fucking
good chemistry. I'm
yeah.
just saying.
Dude, oh my God. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's like,
And
it's
his
so
fucking
great.
car. Did they
It's
make? I
so
hope they
great.
made an award for the car then. They both should be taking
The
home an award.
Yeah, the teens in 2003 just really got it, man.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, they knew what was going on.
it
That's the
also is
funniest
gonna
shit.
win the Teen Choice Award for movie fight slash action sequence.
Okay.
I'm gonna scroll here for a minute. I'm gonna try and find what it beats because that's like it's cool. Like a lot of times we get movies that are just
Or also like
nominated.
for what action? Does it say what specific action scene or it's
That's
just
also why I'm scrolling here because it's not on the. It doesn't say. Right. So
here we go.
this is maybe the
Here we
funniest
go.
thing I've seen on this show. So we've talked about this specific award before, but I
Yeah.
don't think I noticed this the
What was
last
it?
time.
What was it in Freddy vs. Jason? The guy got right. The guy got like lit on fire and like three different stunts he was up for. This is a
No, so
highly
that's
contested
not.
award.
There's only one movie here that has a description of what it's nominated for.
Okay.
So some movies that are nominated: Too Fast, Too Furious wins.
Yeah.
Daredevil's nominated.
Oh
Shanghai
boy.
Nights, which I'm
Oh
pretty
boy.
sure that's the episode we talked about. This is like Shanghai Nights. Matrix, Triple X, X2 is in here.
Way
Lord of
too
the
many
Rings, Two
nominees already.
Towers. Too Fast, Too Furious beats out all those movies, as well as the only movie that has any kind of description for what sequence it is nominated for.
Okay.
Bringing Down the House
All right, there it
is
is.
nominated, and the only description, it's 4 words. It says, "For the girl fight." It's like, what, what on earth, man?
So many more questions.
Yeah, like I definitely want a description on all of these, and it's so funny to me that that's the one they picked.
Yeah.
Like, as if you saw Bringing Down the House, you'd be confused as to what they got nominated for.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe they had more than one girl fight. They just really needed to let you know. They're
Yeah,
like, for the girl fight.
um,
That's
I
amazing.
think this is the last Teen Choice Award here. Hold on, hold please.
I'm holding.
So, choice movie breakout star. Michael Ealy's nominated, and then this is one of those where it's like a twofer. He's nominated for Barbershop and Too Fast, Too Furious as like a combo.
Nice. I love how it's like a breakout star and he's in it for like 30 seconds.
Well, that's why it's a combo though, dude. Like he was in a super successful movie, but he was also in Barbershop, and I've never seen Barbershop, so I don't know. Maybe he's in that more.
Yeah, no, I think I've only seen the second one, oddly enough.
And then, so this is where it gets weird though, and I think part of the thing is that this is also a shared award.
Okay.
Um, Eva Mendes is nominated, but in the 2004 Teen Choice Awards.
Okay. Oh, so what?
And
They gave her
she's
like a combo, but like they added Too Fast for it.
Yeah, so she's nominated in the 2004 for the Choice Breakout Movie Star, female, and then she's nominated for Too Fast, Too Furious, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Out of Time, and Stuck on You, like all four
Way too
movies.
much. Way too many things.
Yeah, I agree.
They
This is
gave
an
it to her
interesting
for
one though.
4 movies.
I am gonna take a swing.
All of those movies came out in 2003.
Yeah, so I don't understand like how some of them got nominated in 2003, but Eva Mendes got nominated in 2004. I don't know. It doesn't make
Yeah,
sense to me.
I don't know.
Lindsay Lohan eventually wins for another slew of movies, which this is actually a pretty sick run. Eva Mendes loses to Lindsay Lohan, who was in Mean Girls, Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, and Freaky Friday.
The fucking
That's
combo.
dude. That is a movie, a trilogy that you should sit down and watch all in a row.
The
That'll bring you
combo.
right back to 2003. That's a time machine right
Yeah,
there.
the combo award might be the funniest thing that the Teen Choice Awards does.
Yeah. Well, no, it makes sense, I think, for breakout stars specifically. Because it's like Lindsay Lohan broke out this year because she was in all these like big movies that you went and saw, all this
Yeah,
year. Like that makes sense to me.
that's fair. It's just Ava Mendes for her 4 movies from 2003.
Yeah. Jessica Alba's in here too for Honey.
Oh boy. Yeah, that'll do it. What
This
a
is so
run. What a run of awards right there. Good for you, Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah. And then I,
Lows,
I
a
think
few
I said
highs.
we would do Cole Hauser, but I think we're probably running pretty long here. So I will save Cole Hauser for what.
for another, for another day. And then there is a movie in there, Jim, in Cole House's filmography that we will be getting to in due time.
Yeah, I'm gonna save Cole Hauser for another day, but I do want to talk about a guy you brought up a couple of times, John Singleton.
Okay.
Uh,
Fantastic director.
yeah, I mean,
Gone Too Soon, great director.
yeah, absolutely. He kills it in the '90s. He writes and directs Boys in the Hood, which is like
Fantastic.
a
So good.
great movie.
So good.
Uh, he writes and directs Poetic Justice,
Never
which
seen
is another movie I like.
it. I've actually
He
missed that one. I
writes
have to see that.
he writes and directs Higher Learning.
Never heard of that.
I don't think I've seen this movie. It's like a college movie, but it
Okay.
sounds pretty serious. Omar Epps is in it, which is like a pretty good sign
Ooh.
in the mid '90s for me.
All right. Yeah.
He directs 1997 Rosewood. I don't know if I've.
Never heard of that.
Let's see. This might be another one of those episodes where we got to be like,
Yeah,
we
it's
need to
like
go
I need to
back.
watch more John Singleton movies.
I mean, I will say they are some heavy hitting movies. Let me
All
say that.
right. I would expect
So
nothing less from
this
this man.
Rosewood is a dramatization of a 1923 horrific racist lynch mob attack on an African American community.
Oh boy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I'd
cool.
imagine that that's not a fun
Yeah,
watch.
I would say that's definitely sounds like a heavy movie.
Stars
Ving
Ving Rhames
Rhames.
and Don Cheadle,
Dude, John
which
Voight.
is pretty cool. Yeah, and John Voight, yeah.
We said we had to watch more John Voight movies. It's right there.
And then I think that John Singleton's kind of going to settle into his groove here, and this
Okay.
later run is why I wanted to talk more about him.
Oh boy.
Um,
Can only imagine what's coming.
2000, he directs Shaft, the
Oh
Samuel
boy.
L. Jackson remake of Shaft.
That movie. I actually only just recently watched that movie for the first time. Wild. Wild. Christian Bale in that movie, wild.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time.
Man,
The only thing I remember about
man
it
is a
is Shaft
nutcase in
goes,
that movie.
somebody's like, "Hey, Shaft, you're suspended. What are you gonna do about it?" And he's like, "Do you think that makes me more dangerous or less
Yeah.
dangerous?" Like that's like the only thing I remember about that movie.
Oh man, what a movie.
2001, he directs another Tyrese Gibson vehicle, Baby Boy.
I've
In
heard
South
of that.
Central LA, a misguided 20-year-old African American man, a baby boy, faces the commitments of real life.
I remember that movie from back. I never watched it, but I remember seeing it around like at Blockbuster and stuff like that. But I never caught that one.
Yeah, then in 2003, he makes Too Fast, Too Furious.
Hell yeah.
2005, he makes he makes Four Brothers.
Oh Jesus, that movie.
Yeah,
Dude,
which
man
like
loves working with Tyrese Gibson.
this is like a totally random curveball. He makes a 30 for 30 movie about Marion Jones, who I believe is like a track runner. She was like an Olympic runner for the United States.
Really? That's amazing.
Yeah. He makes like one of those like ESPN documentaries. Then he follows that up in 2011 with the Taylor Lautner absolute classic Abduction.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like like what an all-time great movie. The I like this I mean this. Like the scenes
I
of
know you
Taylor
do.
Lautner in the like Pirates jersey are burned into my brain. The whole fight scene at the Pirates game, like John
Oh my
Singleton
God.
deserves all the credit in the world for that movie. It's so good.
Dude, he was a legend for a reason.
Yeah, and then he does like TV work for a while after that, which maybe Hollywood didn't like Abduction as much as I did. Because,
Yeah, well, I mean
uh,
that's his last film credit too, so I don't know how
yeah,
much they
yeah,
let
it
him
is.
make because he didn't.
I
I
mean,
don't
he
think
does though.
he didn't
Like,
die until recently, right? Like I feel like it was like 2018, 2019 that he died.
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm not 100% sure. It feels like it
Yeah,
was pretty recent though. Yeah.
yeah, I feel
Well,
like it was
because
like more recent.
he made the show. The big TV credit he has left is he created that show Snowfall, which I've never watched, but I
Oh
believe
yeah,
it's like a
never.
drug show.
Gotcha. Yeah, I
That's
remember.
pretty popular.
I've seen ads for that, but I've never watched it either.
Yeah, but he created that in 2017, and he's credited as a writer for 60 episodes. So
Oh,
the
okay. All
show
right. So yeah,
ran
so
for
he really, so
2023.
he
I'm
went
not sure if
on.
he worked on it all the way through 2023 or if like it kept going after he passed away. I don't know.
It had to have kept going because I think, yeah, looking at yeah, so he died in April of 2019.
Gotcha. Which yeah, that makes sense. That's like 4 seasons of like 15 episodes, or maybe
Yeah,
5 seasons of 12 episodes. Probably is what his credit is. That makes sense.
gone too soon.
Yeah. I mean,
Great,
look, all I
fantastic
know is
movie.
I wish the guy who made Abduction got a chance to make more movies. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It definitely would have been great to see what he could have done after as a follow-up to that vehicle. See him get back to his roots.
Yeah, and I'll have to
Do
check
another
out
Fast and
Snowfall
Furious.
because I've heard of that show. I didn't realize he was involved. It's like it's interesting to me now that I know that John Singleton was like the vehicle behind it.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes me more inclined to want to check it out, knowing that he was a part of it. Because absolutely fantastic writer director, a legend in his time. And with that, I think we're ready to turn it over to our final ratings. And I'm curious to see if I'm getting a drop or not.
I'm Roger Ebert.
Oh,
Been a scene from the best film of the decade. This is a great film.
it is a great film, Raj. Do you believe so? I bet you do. I wonder what did Raj have to say on the subject very quickly before we get there. All right, Jim, if you had to take a guess, how many stars do you think Roger Ebert gave this movie?
This is tough because this is the kind of movie where I feel like Roger Ebert would either just totally destroy it or be kind of like, yeah, that was all right. I see what they were doing there. I think it's probably the former though. I think he's gonna give this 1 star.
Ooh, Jim. Nope, it's actually the latter. He's going to give this movie 3 out of 4 stars.
Nice, Raj
And
never misses, dude. I don't know why I doubted him.
Raj never misses, and he pretty much his with one sentence makes up pretty much our whole argument here. It doesn't have a brain in its head, but it's made with skill and style, and boy, it is fast and furious.
Yeah, Raj gets it, dude. I'm telling you.
Raj indeed gets it. So now I turn it over to you, Jim. Let's hear your final rating for Too Fast, Too Furious.
I mean, yeah, it's like I don't know. We have a different scale than Roger Ebert, so I don't know if I'm gonna give it like quite as high of a score as him. Like I was gonna give this 3.5 out of 5, and I thought that was pretty generous. Like
Yeah,
getting
I
what
would.
they like when I'm picking up what they're putting down, they gotta at least get that much. I feel like.
But also, I feel like you doing a 3.5 is comparative to him doing like a 3 out of 4. Like I'd say that's like about right on the money.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say. And I'm right there with you. I'm gonna go just below you right there. I'm gonna give this movie a 3 star. Yeah, fun, enjoyable, turn your brain off, fast cars. Yeah, it's what you want. It's what you want out of a movie like this. Like it delivers exactly on what you expect
Right.
from this movie. And I think that's all you need sometimes with movies. They don't all have to be award-winning, like amazing plots. Sometimes I just want to watch a dude eject another dude from a car and say ejectocito, cuz.
Yeah, right. Final thought, absolutely mind blowing that Paul Walker became as big a star as he did. It's like
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves level of like that guy did it? No way.
Yeah. So another Gone Too Sooner right there also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but all right. So with your 3.5 and my 3 gives us an overall score of 6.5. And we're gonna do some battles here, Jim. We got some
Oh boy.
6.5ers on deck. So do you take Too Fast, Too Furious, or do you take Spy Kids 2?
Spy Kids too.
Yeah, I would also take Spy Kids 2. That was an easy
Yeah,
battle that week. Nice and easy. All right, so then Too Fast, Too Furious is going to settle into the number 25 spot, just behind Spy Kids 2 with a 6.5, and just ahead of Enough with a 6.
nice.
It's a solid little spot right there. Yeah, I don't think, and even if it did jump over Spy Kids 2, I don't know if it would have climbed any higher because the other two 6.5ers were Star Wars Episode 2 and Armageddon.
Yeah, that's a tough road to hoe, man. I don't
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
like Too Fast, Too Furious, but that's a serious list.
yeah. That's a tough hill to climb. But still solid little company right there. So enjoy your time in the 6.5 league. Too Fast, Too Furious. Now, Jim, we didn't see it in the box office. So we could actually take a guess as to what our next movie is as we're diving back in to our regular programming right here. Do you want to take a guess? Do you want maybe to
Yeah, I
give
was
me a
gonna guess
hint?
a movie I came across in the Teen Choice Awards.
Ooh.
Keira Knightley was also nominated for Breakout Female Star for King Arthur, as well as this movie that I'm about to guess. This
Going
is
off
based
the
on
basic,
nothing more than like I know that you've
your
seen this.
the
You know what I
basic
mean? Like
bitch
I know you would
formula
have seen
again.
this in theaters. So I'm gonna guess Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the
Uh,
Black Pearl. Which do we give it? It was just wasn't it just called Pirates of the Caribbean when it first came out?
no, it was still they still had the subtitle because they were hoping for. So like when the teaser first came out, it was just called Pirates of the Caribbean. But then by the time the actual trailer came out, they added the subtitle because they were hoping
Gotcha.
that they would get like a bunch of these and that they'd
Yeah,
have the
but
subtitles for each
that's
one.
that's my guess is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, Jim, you would be correct. That is our next movie. Off of the
That
basic
was an absolute shot in the dark.
there you go. Well, off of the basic bitch formula, like the movie was coming out in July, we just did Terminator, and I, of course, am seeing the top dollar movies out there. So naturally, I'm gonna go see Pirates of the Caribbean. And you know me, I'm a huge Disney fan. Of course, I'm seeing a movie based on the ride.
Yeah, and I'm excited to do that one because like I feel like it's hard to describe with how many Pirates movies have come out now, how big of a phenomenon that was when it first came out.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff to talk about in regards, especially to the first movie, because there was so much uncertainty around that movie when it was coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
still
for,
I remember that being a movie though where everybody that I ever talked to about it was like, "Yeah, that movie's amazing."
yeah, yeah, it was so great to see a movie deliver on all fronts, especially after a slew of mediocrity that we've been talking about for two. Because outside of Finding Nemo, everything we've really talked about in 2003 has been very mediocre for this summer. So
Yeah, you can say that again.
yeah, so it's crazy to once again now we're finally getting to talk about another movie that became a monster hit that people after all this mediocrity, people were probably expecting this to be the final nail in the coffin for that mediocrity that has been out because no one was expecting Pirates to actually not only do well, but to be as good as it ends up being.
Yeah, and I mean we'll get more into it next week. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot surrounding that. Do you have anything to leave the people with? What you been jamming on?
Yeah, so I've been watching on Peacock. Um, I've been in kind of like a spooky mood recently.
Ooh, little
So
spooky guy.
I've been watching on Peacock the old like Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
Oh, nice.
It's these like half hour like horror like
Yeah,
short
yeah.
stories. They're all so good, dude.
I never
There was
watched them, but I
one,
remember those being a thing.
yeah, there was one I wanted to point out particularly where the guy gets into like a an auto accident and it's like this like big auto accident where he like crashes into a bunch of guys who are doing road work
Hmm.
and like everybody's dead and he's sitting in his car totally paralyzed like he can't move anything and like it's like all about like everybody who comes up to the accident who thinks everybody's dead like including him, so like a bunch of dudes show up to like loot the place and then like
Oh,
eventually the
Jesus.
cops come and everybody's like, oh, he's just dead, like, and like they're like bringing him to the morgue and stuff and the whole time he's like got this like monologue going in his head, like it's so good. It's so
Oh,
good.
wow. I'm gonna have to check those out. Yeah, because I remember those, like seeing things for those as a kid, and I never watched it or anything. So the fact that it's on Peacock, I might have to check that out.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before. I always just knew the thing where like he walks into the like line
Yeah,
room,
yeah, like yeah, I remember that too.
but
Because
I'd
it's
never actually
Disneyland
seen the
Pony.
show. But the show is legit, man. It's really cool. It's
Ooh, all
like
right,
for Halloween times, it's really good.
all right. I'll have to add that to the list once I finish that ER dive.
Yeah. I guess that's you're still on ER.
I mean, I am still on ER, but that's not since I've already done ER, I won't use that as my one. What did I just see? We went and saw Smile 2 in theaters, the late I'll keep it with the spooky theme. The latest horror movie that came out, but by the time this episode will come out, it's gonna have been a few weeks that it's been out. I actually really enjoyed it. It was a really solid horror movie. And it had a great fucking ending. I won't spoil anything for anybody out there.
Interesting.
But it's basically like it's a pop star who's now being like hunted by the smile demon and it's like slowly driving her insane as she's like trying to like fight it off and cope with it. And just it's a very interesting dynamic watching her like get ready for a huge show at Madison Square Garden while she's slowly going insane. I really dug that.
Yeah, no, that does sound kind of interesting.
Yeah,
You
it's
definitely switched me to maybe I'll watch that on streaming like 10 years from now to I'll probably go see that.
Yeah, no, it was sick, and it's got a really great ending that sets up a sequel that I am like gung
Oh,
ho for.
Smile 3
Yeah.
incoming.
There we go, man. Yeah, Smile 3. Let's go. Smile harder. So
Alright.
yeah, so do that, people. Make sure you go out, check Smile too, and hop on Peacock, watch a classic, dive into some Alfred Hitchcock. You know you should do it already, and make sure you join us back here next week when we dive into Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl. And as always, we'll see you at the movies.